calculative action, the ability to put cardinal numbers to certain types of modes of behavior, is only possible in a highly civilized society. And if the problems that we're going through today were to get so chaotic, like for us to go back to Mad Max, we're done. There's no more math again.
Why?
Because because you're going to learn. No, it's not because we'd forget. It's because without money, there is no economic calculation. Because what money allows you to do is to put one type of thing which is homogeneous and
but why would
what's
money,
the term?
Why would there be no money?
Fungible.
But,
fungible. Wait, hold on.
okay.
You need something fungible and homogeneous on one side of every trade.
Okay.
Something that has a unit that you can always replicate. And if you replace that unit with another unit, nobody cares. So if I replace 1 ounce of gold with another ounce of gold, it's an ounce of gold. Nobody cares. If I replace $1 with $1, nobody cares. So the dollar in today's society, the dollar is the unit of account that trades against every single other good in the society.
Well, that's why they call it the petrodollar.
But that's why I can that's why I can say I have a TV. How much will I get from the TV if I sell it on Craigslist? Oh, I'll get $100. What could I get? How many hamburgers could I get for $100? Well, a hamburger trades for $5. So I could get 100 divided by 5, and that'll give the answer of how many hamburgers I could buy. That's math. That's economic calculation.
Okay.
That's only possible when you have money.
All right.
So when you fuck with money, when you fundamentally do what they're doing right now, and they're just like, another 3 trillion, printing machine go, like you literally fundamentally destroy that thing that you use to do math with. Do you understand?
Doesn't it correct itself eventually because it has to? Like because when people do exchange.
Well, eventually you have boom and bust cycles. So eventually the problems will become so bad in society that there'll have to be a clearing of those goods. But it comes with a lot of pain and a lot of destruction.
Okay. It was cognition of what is going on within a world in which action is computable and calculable that led men to elaboration of the sciences of praxeology and economics. Economics is essentially a theory of that scope of action in which calculation is applied or can be applied if certain conditions are realized. No other distinction is of greater significance, both for human life and for the study of human action, that between calculable action and non-calculable action. Modern civilization is above all characterized by the fact that it has elaborated a method which makes the use of arithmetic possible in a broad field of activities. This is what people have in mind when attributing to it the not very expedient and often misleading epithet of rationality. The mental grasp and analysis of the problems present in a calculating market system were the starting point of economic thinking, which finally led to general praxeological cognition. However, it is not the consideration of this historical fact that makes it necessary to start exposition of a comprehensive system of economics by an analysis of the market economy, and to place before this analysis an examination of the problem of economic calculation. Not historical nor heuristic aspects enjoin such a procedure, but the requirements of logical and systematic rigor. The problems concerned are apparent and practical only within the sphere of the calculating market economy. It is only a hypothetical and figurative transfer which makes them utilizable for the scrutiny of other systems of society's economic organization which do not allow of any calculation. Economic calculation is the fundamental issue in the comprehension of all problem commonly called economic.
So economics, which was formalized prior to the formalization of praxeology, started with questions of economic calculation. Okay. They wanted to know, I've told you this before, why was the price of a cow $100 or 100 ounces of gold for 1,000 years, and then after we went to the New World and tripled the amount of the supply of gold, the price of cows inflated up to like 1,000 pieces of gold. I'm just throwing out like random numbers there. That's not a historical accuracy, but I'm saying those were the type of questions that they were trying to answer.
Right.
So they started a science from a foundation of already using on a common. They were already commonly doing economic calculation when they started that, okay? But what happens is that because you have economic calculation, and to some extent you use simple arithmetic, the mistake that one can fall into is thinking that all human life is somehow governed by something that you can put into cardinal numbers, which it's not, which is why praxeology had to be the youngest of all sciences and formalized to answer all the epistemological problems that arose from all these economists. You know, there was no praxeology when Marx wrote his Communist Manifesto and his Das Kapital. Like, right. So he wasn't thinking on the level of, he wasn't thinking as deeply as Mises was. What he was thinking was, well, there's millions of dollars or millions of Deutschmarks, and these people have more, and these people have less, and these people don't need that many Deutschmarks in order to be happy. So why can't we transfer some of that and make those other people happy? Right. But it makes a mistake about it ignores a problem. It ignores a whole host of problems, including contractual society versus hegemonic relations, right? Autistic versus interpersonal exchange. All these things that are not in economics, they're praxeological questions. They're before you get to economics, before you get to economic calculation, you have to get to know these things. And that's the importance of praxeology. That's why this channel is dedicated to teaching praxeology, because this is like the forgotten science. And just the last thing I want to say is that I had this, a few days ago, I had this interview with my good friend Saifuddin Ammous, who's a professor of economics. And I said, hey, look, after 10 years of this channel being around, praxeology still hasn't caught on. And he said, well, that's like teaching fish what water is. Like praxeology, everyone's doing praxeology. It's like, no, people aren't thinking about these fundamental issues, and they're not thinking about the importance of whether you can ascribe cardinal numbers to certain questions, or whether they're just ordinal numbers. But no, you're not just living it. These are not just like something you're like, oh yeah, obviously. Well, obviously you can't put cardinal number. No, I think a lot of people think that the power of math and science could potentially solve a lot of questions of interpersonal relationships, and they haven't stopped and thought about the epistemological problems.